Have you ever felt as if something is trying to show you the way, but you still can't see clearly? Have you ever wondered whether there's more behind what we call reality? What if I told you that everything you perceive is only a tiny fraction of what truly exists, and that the rest lies hidden, waiting for the exact moment you're ready to see? Today, you'll come to understand why certain truths only reveal themselves when your consciousness reaches a particular level of maturity. You'll also discover the signs that let you know the universe already knows you're ready to see beyond. Stick with me until the end and share in the comments the phrase, "I'm ready to see the truth the universe has in store for me." Doing so attracts good vibrations and strengthens your energy field for the awakening that begins right now. Jacobo Grinberg was a Mexican neuroscientist who dared to push beyond the boundaries of conventional science and explore the invisible territories of consciousness. Unlike his colleagues, who confined themselves to the brain's physical study, Grinberg devoted himself to uncovering what lies behind human perception, proposing a revolutionary theory. The reality we experience isn't objective, but is constructed by the interaction between our consciousness and an invisible informational matrix. According to him, we don't see the world as it is, but as we are. The mind is not merely a receiver, but a creative filter, shaped by beliefs, experiences, and emotional states. What we call reality is, in fact, a representation built from our own mental patterns. This concept changes everything. It means that what we haven't yet seen, subtle dimensions, synchronicities, the universe's signals, aren't absent. They simply remain invisible until we're ready to perceive them. Grinberg called this lifting the perceptual veils. And today you'll learn how this process works and what changes in your life when you're finally ready to see. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. This is one of the most profound and liberating truths you can understand on your journey of expansion. The reality you experience daily is not an external, objective entity that happens outside of you. Quite the opposite. It's an exact projection shaped by your inner structure, your beliefs, emotions, thoughts, and levels of consciousness. The universe isn't a static stage where events unfold independently of your presence. It's a living mirror, a continuous reflection of what you hold in your inner world. Grinberg proposed that we don't perceive reality directly. Instead, we co-create a coherent representation from an invisible informational field he called the matrix. This matrix is like a blank canvas full of possibilities, and your mind is the brush choosing the colors and shapes. When you look at a flower, for instance, you're not seeing the flower in itself. You're seeing your interpretation of it, filtered through your experiences, memories, sensations, and personal symbolism. The flower is as real as the story you create about it. And if that's true for a flower, it's true for everything. Your relationships, your work, your spirituality, your pains, and your joys. Everything that seems to happen outside is actually a reflection of what vibrates within you. If you feel the world is hostile, unjust, or meaningless, ask yourself, what thoughts have you been feeding? What emotions have you been cultivating? What beliefs have you been defending as absolute truths? This perception completely transforms the role you play in life. You stop being a victim of events and become a co-creator of your own experience. Of course, this doesn't mean you're directly responsible for everything that happens, but that what you perceive as your reality is strongly influenced by how you look at, interpret, and react to it. Two people can live the same event and come away with completely different perceptions. One sees an obstacle, the other an opportunity. One feels rejected, the other free. The difference isn't in the event, but in the filter through which it's experienced. The filter is you. When you understand this, you begin to free yourself. Instead of trying to change the world, you start transforming yourself. And by transforming your inner vibration, your perception changes. And when your perception changes, the world inevitably changes with it. To see more of reality is, above all, to be more. to be more conscious, more present, more aligned with your true essence. The universe responds to your inner state with precision. When you change inside, it changes outside. The reason we don't see all the truth around us isn't because it doesn't exist. It's because we're not yet prepared for it. The universe is wise. It doesn't reveal everything at once. There's a subtle intelligence at work behind what you can perceive and what remains hidden. It respects the pace of your inner evolution. It's as if veils were positioned between you and the deeper dimensions of reality. Veils that aren't obstacles, but protections. They prevent you from being overwhelmed by information and frequencies for which your mind isn't yet structured to handle. These veils aren't external. They're part of your own mind. They're formed by limiting beliefs, fears, unquestionable certainties, cultural programming, and traumatic experiences. They're like layers of an onion. You only access the core once you remove what surrounds it. And this process isn't violent. It's gradual, delicate, often silent. As you delve deeper into yourself, one of these veils lifts, and what was once invisible becomes obvious. This moment is what we call awakening, but awakening rarely comes with thunder or cinematic revelations. Often, it arrives as a commonplace instant, a simple conversation, a sudden silence, a different feeling upon seeing something familiar. Suddenly, something shifts within you. And what has always been in front of your eyes, yet ignored, now shines with clarity. It's like seeing the world for the first time. Grinberg understood this as a reorganization of perceptual structure. When the internal pattern changes, the informational field responds, and reality changes with it. Not because it's essentially transformed, but because your reception channel has widened. The invisible becomes visible, the inaudible begins to whisper, and reality presents itself with new layers, new textures, new truths. This is the point at which many feel that something has started to happen. They can't explain it rationally, but sense there's more life than their routine suggests. They begin to notice repetitions, signs, patterns. They start to feel an inner urgency to seek something greater, something they hadn't even considered before. These signs are evidence that the veils are thinning, that your consciousness is opening to see what was until now inconceivable. And when this happens, a responsibility is born alongside it. The responsibility not to turn back, because once you've seen, you can't pretend you haven't. Awakening is irreversible, and the moment it happens is never by chance. When consciousness begins to expand, the universe responds, and one of the first ways it does so is through synchronicities, coincidences so meaningful that they defy any logical or statistical explanation. You think of someone, and they call seconds later. A symbol starts appearing everywhere you look. A number, a word, an image emerges at different moments, but connected by an invisible thread. This isn't chance, it's language. Synchronicities are how the universe speaks to you when it senses you're ready to listen. They don't appear to impress you, but to confirm, yes, you're on the path. Yes, you're awakening. Yes, something greater is guiding you. They show up as clues, as luminous arrows pointing to the next step on your journey of self-knowledge. Jacobo Grinberg saw reality as a co-created projection between consciousness and the universal informational field. And within this projection, the signs aren't sporadic miracles, but part of a responsive universe's very structure. When your mind changes, your perception reorganizes, and what was once invisible, like synchronicities, reveals itself as an essential part of your new reality narrative. These signs are subtle and demand presence. Repeated numbers like 1111, 2222, 333. Specific words that stand out in conversations. Books arriving at precisely the right moments. Unlikely encounters. All of this begins to form a pattern, and the pattern, a message. The universe speaks, but it whispers. And only those who silence the inner noise can hear. Beyond external synchronicities, there are internal signs. an intuition that intensifies, a certainty that arises without rational explanation, a feeling that there's more. It's as if your perceptual field is being tuned to a higher frequency, and this new tuning allows you to catch information that once went unnoticed. Synchronicities can also manifest as recurring lessons. Similar situations, people with the same patterns, challenges that repeat. This isn't bad luck. It's a cycle that repeats until you extract the necessary lesson. It's as if life keeps giving you the same test in different formats until you finally learn the answer. And once you do, the cycle ends. Noticing these signs is a turning point. It's when you stop viewing the world as something separate from you and start living it as an intimate dialogue with your deepest self. Everything begins to make sense, everything begins to connect, and you at last understand that the universe doesn't show you when you want, it shows you when you're ready. And if the signs are appearing, perhaps you already are. Not every awakening comes with a bang. Some arrive as a whisper, as a silence that suddenly carries weight, meaning, and presence. As your consciousness expands, you start to perceive not only the external world differently, but also your internal world. And the first sign of this subtle expansion is the intensification of intuition. Intuition isn't a thought or an emotion. It's a direct perception, a wisdom that springs from silence. You start to know things without knowing how you know them. There's no logical justification, but there is certainty. That silent voice within you begins guiding your steps with almost magical precision. And the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. This expansion also shifts how you experience time. Moments of intense presence start to surface. Mundane situations, like looking at the sky, feeling the wind, hearing a song, suddenly become deeply profound experiences. The now stretches, expands, becomes absolute. Past and future lose their grip, and the present becomes a portal. In these instances, the world gains a special clarity. It's as if reality is more alive, more aware of itself. You realize that you're not just living, you're witnessing. And this witnessing carries transformative energy. You're no longer separate from things. You're part of them. You are part of the whole, and the whole is in you. Grinberg spoke of this sensation as the dissolution of perceptual boundaries. When the mind's filter begins to refine, the separation between I and world loses its rigidity. The feeling of unity isn't an idea, it's a direct experience. A sunset isn't just a landscape, it's a mirror of your own light. A hug isn't just a gesture, it's the remembrance of an eternal connection. Everything you touch touches you back. And it's at that point that true expansion happens. There are no formulas or specific techniques. There's a state of presence, listening, opening. The noisy mind, full of opinions and judgments, begins to yield space to a deeper knowing that doesn't need words. And in that space, silent wisdom emerges. Wisdom that knows before thinking, that sees before interpreting. This expansion doesn't demand effort, only surrender. It isn't about conquering something, but about allowing what already is to reveal itself. You don't become someone new. You return to who you've always been, behind the layers of conditioning, fear, and control. It's in that silence that the universe whispers its deepest truths, and only those who learn to listen begin to truly see. There is one truth that can change everything. You're not merely experiencing the world, you're creating it. Your mind isn't a passive spectator of reality. It's an active vibrational field, a portal of manifestation that shapes what you call the external world. Every thought, every belief, every emotion held with intensity is like a seed planted in the universe's invisible fabric, ready to sprout as circumstances, encounters, opportunities, or challenges. Jacobo Grinberg said that reality arises from the interaction between consciousness and an underlying informational matrix. This matrix contains all possibilities, and consciousness, like a malleable lens, chooses what to manifest based on the focus it maintains. That means that even without realizing it, you're co-creating your life all the time. The problem is that most of the time, this creation happens unconsciously, driven by repetitive mental patterns and inherited beliefs. That's why many live in recurring cycles: scarcity, difficult relationships, self-sabotage, fear. Not because they're destined to remain there, but because they keep projecting the same frequencies into the field of existence. The good news: the cycle can be broken, and it all starts with awareness. When you realize that your thoughts aren't neutral, but creative forces, the way you deal with them changes. You start choosing more consciously what you think, feel, and believe. And more than that, you begin to imagine consciously. In this context, imagination is no longer escapist fantasy, but an instrument of creation. Visualizing isn't running away from reality, it's programming it. By imagining with presence and intention, you imprint new patterns onto the field of possibilities. You send a signal to the universe: this is what I choose to live. And the universe, as always, responds, not with instant magic, but with movement. People appear, doors open, ideas come, feelings shift. And suddenly, what once seemed impossible begins to become part of your new reality. But there's one detail: the field responds more to coherence than desire. It's not enough to want something. You have to be vibrationally aligned with it. That means if you desire peace but live in anxiety, the field will mirror anxiety. If you want abundance but cultivate scarcity beliefs, scarcity is what manifests. Change begins within. You are the portal. Reality doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. And the more conscious you become of that, the more power you have to transform everything around you. There is no separation between you and the universe. There's only resonance. And when you align with what you wish to see in the world responds perfectly. Now that you understand that reality isn't fixed, but a living projection of your inner state, it's time to act consciously. The universe is always ready to show you more, but the question is, are you ready to see? Watch for the signs, trust your intuition, allow yourself to be silent and feel. From today on, choose consciously what you think, feel, and believe. Every thought is a command, every emotion a frequency, and reality simply responds. Put into practice what you've learned here. Try conscious visualization, make room for inner silence, question your old beliefs. Most importantly, live with the certainty that you're not a passenger in the universe, you're part of the intelligence that guides it. If this content touched something within you, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share it with someone who needs to awaken to this truth. Leave in the comments the phrase, "I am the portal through which the universe manifests." This strengthens your vibration and inspires others to awaken as well. What the universe reveals depends on what you're willing to remember. And now that you know this, the awakening has already begun.